points in the map.
About 8 minutes, 7 minutes for the Q&A session. Once again, I really thank you, Kerry and Cedric, for being here today, sharing your experience and knowledge. I kindly ask you to stay just a few more minutes for the Q&A session. The Q&A session is open. So everyone who has questions, please raise your hand, use your chat, or use your take a word to put your questions. I have here Edgar Snaps. Speaking of Roy, what is the lowest scale of event using virtual venue makes sense? It's a question for our colleague Edgar Snaps from Latvia.
I can maybe take that one if you want, Kerry, because we had this discussion internally when we start building a virtual venue. It was initially planned to cover our biggest event, which is the Euro. And very quickly, when we realized that we would like to leverage and to capitalize on it, we enter into discussion with our colleagues who are managing smaller events, like the youth event that are played in one venue with a really small amount of people organizing. So you cannot compare the scale of small event like this to a Euro one, which is a monster. And fortunately, we discovered that they were scared about having a tool that could look like a bazooka to kill the bee, and finally ended up being scalable enough to cover the smallest event. So to answer your questions, it was one of the challenge because we fell into that in the past, having tools that were over-complicated, let's say, costly. So they were not used on smaller events. So finally, because we are using this platform for small, medium, and large events, everybody could use it without suffering of any complexity from the biggest event. So for me, it's not a blocker at all.
Thank you, Cedric. Another question from Chris Hope. What was the experience of getting venue operators to buy into providing information for the tool?
Can you repeat the question, Vasco? Sorry.
Okay. What was the experience of getting venue operators providing information for the tool?
I can take that one as well, if you want. So if we talk about venue operator, you mean the people that are really working locally on the venue and that are operating the venue along the year, not only for UEFA during a dedicated amount of time. This has been as well very beneficial, and this was a game changer in the sense of back in time we were exchanging a lot of email, a lot of document, paper, and so on, and offering them the possibility and the opportunity to collaborate, not in the second stage, but at the really first stage of the preparation of whatever event, directly in the tool, has been really much appreciated for both parts. For UEFA, because we were able to get information very quickly, not waiting, an answer and so on. So people were able to collaborate directly within the tool. And on the other way around, for the local organizer, they were able to see what UEFA had in mind initially and potentially able to raise their hands because they know their venue and the technical constraints or political constraints, showing at a very early stage that what we were planning to do will not be possible or there will be some warnings. So in terms of speed and efficiency, this was very, very useful.
Thank you, Cedric. Another question from Edgar Snaps. Who does the 360 filming of venues?
I can answer that one. The answer is anybody, to be honest. In some cases, we sent an ICT person to do it initially, but then eventually whoever was doing the site visit from the business side was able to do it. And in some cases, we even sent a 360 camera to the association. We sent cameras to the UK, to the FA, for them to directly do the 360 photos in their stadium themselves. and then they sent the cameras back. So they were able to take the photos, upload everything, and provide them to us basically through Vista. So it's very user-friendly and easy to do. You could imagine if we're sending the cameras for them to do themselves.
Yeah, it's amazing because it was possible to decentralize all the updating of the information, and the stadium owners that are already there can do all that work for you. It's in a very simple, because the platform automates and processes all the information automatically in a very simple way. So it's okay. It's a very good questions here. I have two more questions from Hoyt. I'm sorry, the pronounce, I don't know if it's well done or not. Question to Carrie: was there a period of training for employees to get a hang of the system? How did UEFA ensure that the system was developed to be user-friendly? Two good questions.
Yes. I mean, I think in terms of the training required to use the application varies depending on the profile of the user. So obviously the people that are actually doing drawing on the map require more training than the people that are accessing Portal just to view the plans and potentially print, and once they're operational in the stadium, okay? So we did kind of a more thorough training process of those, let's call them back office users, than we did the front office users. Those using Portal, we, if I talk again about Euro 2020, because it's fresh in my mind, you know, we prepared training videos, we have e-learnings, we had workshops where there were demos done by our business colleagues. So we really made a huge effort to make sure that everybody had the appropriate level of training and the tools to be able to use the tool once they were on site and kind of independent from us. And then talking about the user friendliness, I think that was kind of one of the objectives of developing UEFA, the Vista portal. You know, the real complexity, I think, sits behind in the designer and the manager and the drawing and this part that kind of requires a bit more specialization. Portal is designed to be user-friendly. I mean, it's designed for the person who doesn't have a great deal of maps knowledge to be able to log in, find their venue, you know, find the information they need, and use it. I don't know if Sid or even Bruno, if you want to add anything about that.
Yeah, I think this one is an important one we forgot to mention, because back in time, the people who were drawing, designing, you know, the security perimeter, the room that we are going to use and so on, dot plan for the security or whatever, was done by CAD engineer. So we had to choose very specific profile, to hire very specific profile to represent the different team at UEFA and their idea of preparing and operating an event. Now, anybody doesn't need to be a CAD engineer or having a specific background, can be trained and use what we call Vista or virtual venue and start drawing and contribute to the project itself. And this is a massive difference, because you can use any resource that already worked in your company to contribute to the preparation, and you don't have to go on the market to look for very specific profile.
Thank you very much. Last question, because the time is flying, from a question from Q Martel, question to UEFA. How long did the transformation process take? So human adoption. How long did it take to a full adoption by the team? How did you support this transformation? Did you start to use the solution on an event planification already start, middle of the organization process, or a new event planning from the beginning? A lot of questions. Carrie, Cedric.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think here what Martel is asking is about the adoption, the transformation process, the adoption, how long it takes.
I can start, and maybe Kay will complement, but we did not start from a blank page, because we built our virtual venue around a technical platform that already exists from Focus BC. So this let's say core platform already exists and was mature. We did not have, fortunately, to develop this part, which is where the complexity is seated.
Yeah.
Then it has been an incremental process to build on top of this Focus BC platform our own ecosystem. And we started from small, thinking big, and then we enrich it in an incremental way. It has not been a big bang from coming from nothing to totally finished and finalized platform. So we started with features, enriching with features, and all the time we involved our business colleagues into that process. So it has been an incremental process, if I can say.
I think we could also say that our core business of the venue management team, like the buy-in was there from the beginning. They were keen to have a tool like this, and their adoption of getting up and running with it was they were very engaged since the beginning, right, Cedric? And then I think the wider audience, you could say fortunately or unfortunately, I think the COVID situation also forced it a little bit, because suddenly they, like I said before, we couldn't travel. They had to use Vista. So it sort of happened organically over the last 18 months, I have to say. I think maybe the adoption absolutely and the transformation absolutely would have been there anyway, but I think it was accelerated. And then again, like our support for this transformation was, we tried to make sure that, like I said, the e-learnings and the trainings and everything were there, so that people were comfortable when they got on Venue to be able to use the application. I'm not sure if we answered all of those questions.
Yeah, I think so. So we are ending this session. It was wonderful. The time flies, so we can continue here discussing, because this is very hot topics. I thank you all for this session and for attending this session today. Special thanks to our representatives of UEFA, Carrie and Cedric, to share your knowledge, experience, and vision about this solution and the value that has been demonstrating under UEFA context. I hope it has been an inspiring session to all of you. And to help, I also hope this session will helping you to drive business transformation in your organizations. You may reach us, you know our contacts if you want to know more about the virtual venue. And I hope to see you very soon. Thank you all. Have a nice day.